number is.
When I actually jump, it's not something that I could ever really put to words. It feels like everything is just gone. Like that is, you are only in that moment, and all you think about is the jump. So both my parents were skydivers. They started, and my dad started jumping in '71, and my mom a few years later, and they met, and my mom was pregnant with me. She jumped a bunch. So I made 86 jumps before I was born, kind of thing, and then once I was born, I grew up around it, and eventually, of course, made out to the drop zone and started jumping. I always had a huge passion for it because I saw my parents doing it, and I think like most kids idolize people that they look up to, and so I idolized the sport and what they did. I thought it was awesome, and it was something I was always interested in. I have old photos of me like playing with their gear when I was a kid and stuff. Like it's just always kind of something that I loved to fantasize about. And then when I got older, of course, I just knew more about the sport and what it meant, and I was super excited to get out and do it. When I was in college, actually, she would ground crew with me, and so she would actually take me to go make a jump, and so I just go jump by myself with my mom on the ground watching and stuff.
Free fly jump again? Sweet, yeah.
Some of the things that draw me in base jumping specifically is very similar to skydiving in terms of how I get pulled into it and want to jump so much. For me, it's been changing throughout the years. So when I first jumped, it was more of just like the thrill. And that was exciting, but if that's all it's for, then it'll go away quick. And so actually, the reason I took a couple of years off of base jumping many years ago was because I got bored with it, because I actually lost that thrill. It just wasn't there. I had done it enough, and it was like, okay, well, this isn't a sport to be doing if you're not having an awesome time. So I took a break for many years. When I got back into it, it was because I wanted a wingsuit base jump, and I had never done that before. And so I got back in and got current and got the experience level that I needed to have and started flying wingsuits. Over the years, my draw to the sport has changed quite a bit, but now that I've been wingsuit base jumping for many years, it's a great thing as well, but there's so many more important things in the sport for me, and that's the shared experiences with friends. You really get drawn into a loving bond with your close friends, and I think it's kind of sharing such an intense experience with somebody brings you really close. And of course, there are many walks of life in the sport, so the more people you meet, the more likely you're going to find kind of everybody aligns with the people that they connect with the most. And so you just have these incredible relationships, and you won't see them for a year, and then you'll see them off in Europe or wherever it is that you're base jumping. It's a great experience. I think it's very easy for somebody to look out from the outside of a sport and see it as dangerous, or there are crazy people doing it and stuff like that. But if you really kind of stop and take a look at the sport, or if you take a look at any other activity that is dangerous, it's filled with people that are absolutely doing something that is of the greatest value in their life, for one, and for two, they're choosing to do it, and it's something that they absolutely love. And there are still people that die every day doing things that are dangerous that we all do, like driving a car and stuff like that. And it's much more tragic in those cases because we all take them for granted and don't expect somebody that we know to die in a car crash on the way to work. So yeah, you're increasing the risk in life to do other dangerous activities. And it is arguable, of course, that some activities are more dangerous than driving a car, for sure. But that's not really the point. It's the point of us choosing to do something that we absolutely love, and we get just a wonderful experience from it. So I think by doing that, it's no different than in any other sport. There's a lot of emotions that I feel base jumping, and it's a lot of it comes from the experiences that you're sharing with people that you're really close to. And I think the primary reason is because it's a great time for yourself, and it's definitely a sport that you do for you, that everybody does for themselves. But you have this shared experience with people that you care a lot about, so that really heightens those emotions. But when I actually jump, it's not something that I could ever really put to words. It feels like everything is just gone. Like that is, you are only in that moment, and it's almost a cliche to say that because a lot of people say the same thing, but I think it's probably the best way to describe it. It's a state where you absolutely don't think about anything on your to-do list, anything that you want to get done in life at all. Even the important things, they're irrelevant to that point, and all you think about is the jump. I think that that's something that a lot of people miss in life, is focusing on the current moment and worrying too much about the past and or the future. I really, really appreciate being able to be in that exact moment. Base jumping is definitely dangerous, and it's gotten to be a much safer sport with advancements in gear and things like that over the years. Tons of experience, tens of thousands of jumps being made. Those things alone, the gear that we use makes us much, much safer. However, as a sport in its infancy continues to advance and kind of figure out what we're capable of, it's just only natural that there's going to be a lot of risks, which means a lot of injuries and deaths, and it's the sad part of the sport for sure. I'm definitely sometimes scared when I make a jump. It can be better or worse. It just kind of depends on the scenario of the jump. But there's always a little bit of fear in you, and I think if there isn't, that would be a scarier thing. So I definitely feel fear sometimes, but I think that that's what makes it valuable. It's another one of the things that makes jumping valuable, is being able to be comfortable with that and knowing and having the confidence that you're capable of managing that fear. For me, it depends greatly on what exactly I'm doing and what it is that I'm afraid of. So if it's a jump and exit point itself that's intimidating, then I might manage the fear of that a little bit different if it was somebody that I was jumping with, say, if that was the thing that I was nervous about. So it definitely can vary, but for me it's just being very calm and confident and knowing that most of our fears and most of the things that are inside us are things that we create, and they're not usually external things. And if they are, then it's okay. It's not something that we can actually control. So we just have to take the best solution that we have and kind of use it to our advantage. One of the great things about dealing with fear and risk management and things like that in base jumping is that you can take that and apply it without even thinking about it. It's not even a conscious effort into regular day-to-day life activities. If it's stress about a job or whatever it is you get much more experience with intense situations. So you just become intuitively comfortable with those situations. So I see it regularly, but I think what it is that when you have those experiences in base jumping or in skydiving or any other similar activity where you deal with those situations, you have the ability to find a median and kind of be comfortable with tough situations. Last year I managed to get a slot into the World Wingsuit League Grand Prix in China, which was awesome, and I'm actually going this week to compete at the qualifications to try to get a slot in again. So I've really been enjoying racing a lot. I think I've always naturally been a really competitive person, and I like to be good at what I do, and I try really hard to be good at what I do. But my competitiveness is, for the most part, within myself, to drive myself to do as well as I can. When I was younger, I might have worried a little bit too much about comparison with everybody else, but I feel like when I just drive myself to be the best as possible as I can be, and not really worry about any external forces that I don't have any control over, I do much better than I would have done if I was competing against them. It's kind of setting sights high for yourself rather than comparing it to other people, because sometimes that might mean that you're going to far supersede people in a certain situation, or it might mean that you're not going to overstress yourself because you're just not capable of being good enough. Because of that, I don't really have a specific end goal or a specific point that I'm looking for, a destination that I'm aiming for. To me, life is just about experiences and having fun and doing new things and different things and having a very rich variety of living. The toughest part of the risk and the danger in the sport and of injury or death is, for me anyway, is more so how you mitigate that for your family, because that's the hardest part, I think. So if I were to get hurt or killed, it's not going to really bother me that much at that point. I don't want it to happen, but it's my parents that would be destroyed and my friends that would be, just crushed as well. So that's the part that's really hard, and so it's definitely that if there was one thing that worries me about injury or death the most, that's what it is. But I think that it's still something. The risk is still something that I'm willing to do, and because those people see the value that I get in that kind of ratio of like balancing out the actual reward that I get from the risks that I take. Everybody that does it for the most part. They do it because they have a passion for it, and just like anything else in life, if anything's important to somebody, that's what they're going to do. I have no doubt that at some point it's likely that that my value of the risk to reward in base jumping will potentially change, and it already has once before. Since I actually quit or took a break once before because I didn't feel like there was enough benefit in the sport for me to take the risks that I was taking. So I essentially quit and eventually got back into it. I may do that again someday, and I may not. Right now I'm loving it, and as long as it continues to give me what I've been getting out of it, or something else that's better in a different way, I'll continue to jump. So for me right now, that's wingsuit base jumping, that's skydiving, and spending time with friends and family and stuff like that. I think it's probably always going to be the case, but it may not be. That stuff can change too. So my aspirations may change, my interests may change. I might lose interest in one thing and get more interest in another. I'm not sure. So right now it's just having fun and living life.
Some years ago, I lived a hard life, but sunlight burst a ray through those clouds. We've finally seen the back of those gray days. Please let the summer back to stay and hold a sunbird in your hands. Don't let him sing too sweet, for too soon the summer sun will end winter sleep. And hold a sunbird in your hands. Don't let him sing too sweet, for too soon the summer sun will end winter sleep. You found yourself on the road inside your winter coat, but leave your troubles behind you now. You wrap yourself in a bowl and hide away from it all, but let the sunburn in your heart. Hold the sunburn in your hands. Don't let it sing too sweet, but too soon the summer sun will end winter sleep. Hold the sunburn in your hands. Don't let it sing too sweet, but too soon the summer sun will end winter sleep. Hold the sunlight in your hands. Don't let him sing too sweet, for too soon the summer sun will end winter sleep.
My involvement with Go World Project, it spans back a long time ago. After taking a long break from base jumping, I made a video in 2011, and that was called Lucid Dreams. And that was a video that I made actually from where I'm at now in Norway. And it was a video that I made with a friend, just like most people make base jumping videos or family videos. It was just kind of a home family video that I made just to recap our trip for us. And I decided eventually to put it online, and then it just kind of got a little bit of popularity, but then from there, as I continued to base jump, I started making more and more videos. And I believe it was back in 2012 that Mike Cook, the owner of Go World Project, got in touch with me, and he was interested in some of the stuff that I was doing, and he was creating the first Go World Project video of his own, and asked me to contribute some content. And so from there, we've kind of had a developing relationship where I've been contributing some of the content to his efforts, and he has to mine as well. So we've had a long relationship of working together, and it's just kind of one of those perfect things where it started off as the very first day we met at a wind tunnel in Colorado. Since then, it's just been a developing relationship, and actually now we're in Norway together.